Hey everybody, it's Emma Lightning, and welcome to Hey, That's Things. The internet is really fucking complicated sometimes. A lot of us grew up with it, and during our critical development years, it started to peak. And most of us went through the talk about internet safety, whether in school or from our parents, but did we ever really take it to heart? I mean, with the popularity of shows like Catfish, we'd assume the answer is no. But it really depends. These days, there's more to staying safe on the internet than just trying to avoid creeps and perverts, although that is a big part of it. We've gotten smarter as internet users, but the problem is the bad parts of the internet get smarter too. And in my opinion, there's not enough information out there about what to do about it. It's less about outsmarting them now, and ignoring them really isn't even an option anymore. So how do we overcome the dangers of the World Wide Web? Let's ask the TV. Starting here.
I like playing in the street, and I like going down to the park and stuff.
This one's a classic, and the first time you watch it, it actually can be pretty jarring. The tagline at the end is a little bit of a Captain Obvious statement, but this one was from the early 2000s, I believe. It holds up okay overall. Depending on how easily spooked you are, you might find this one creepy, or you might just find it hilarious.
And stuff, because some are shiny and some are like blue, silver, green, and stuff like that, but they're always, the ones that I pick are always like blue.
I'm pretty sure it's aimed more at parents than at kids, which is okay. I mean, that's fine, but it doesn't really give enough information, even to the parents. It's not a bad concept. It's a little outdated, but it's still a fairly solid PIF overall.
Lucy has always been great at sharing.
One day, Alex and Sam were mucking around on their phones.
Now, you might expect me just to go in and make fun of these, but no, they're actually pretty good for very young kids. And by very young, I mean like 7 and under. And the only problem with that, of course, is that kids that young really shouldn't be using the internet to that degree in the first place. But these days, it's not uncommon to see kids as young as 3 years old playing on their parents' phones or tablets. And once they start school and learning to read and all that, the chances that they'll stumble across something dangerous on the internet increases pretty much exponentially with every year. I think it's really good to make stuff like this every few years or so we can stay relevant, and to be fair, these are both pretty believable scenarios. Of course, we'll never not laugh at your Willy is rubbish, which might detract from the overall seriousness, but aside from that, I like both of these PIFs a lot.
You can go into any chat room and just start talking. Most of the girls are usually so insecure and desperate for
attention from older guys is totally flattering.
So as you guys might know, I'm kind of a sucker for stuff like this, clever formatting and wordplay. So I have to hand it to this one. With PSAs like this that are aimed at the younger teen crowd, it's pretty easy to fall into the trap of sounding condescending, which you definitely don't want to do. But this one, I think, avoids that pretty well.
That's the best thing about
chatting seems unthreatening to them, so they lower their guard.
And it's hard to argue with the message. I mean, as much as you want to believe that you know exactly what you're getting into, you never really do. Thankfully, I think most people these days do know well enough to at least video chat with somebody before they go to meet up with them. But, I mean, still, thinking about the implications in this one is more than enough to make you a little bit paranoid, especially if you're a parent with a younger teen kid.
Do you?
So this one, as you might know, this one was pulled from TV for being too graphic. And that really rubs me the wrong way because it's not that bad, it's not that graphic. And even if it was, if there's ever a reason to make people uncomfortable to get your point across, I would think that a PSA addressing the topic of cyberbullying, which was made in memory of an actual bullying victim who took her own life, that's probably a good one. Aside from that though, this one is definitely memorable with its imagery. I'm not sure how many cases there have been of somebody who actually stitched their mouth shut, but I mean, there's gotta have been at least one. And even though this is pretty gruesome to imagine, I still think it's a pretty good metaphor for what people actually do to themselves on a daily basis, except they make it a little less obvious. And I don't want to be too depressing here, so we'll move on from this one, but there is a lot to be said about it.
Hey, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
This is the classic, just vanilla depiction of, ooh, scary internet. and it's not very accurate, to say the least.
That's the girl I was telling you about.
Theater 2 on your left. Hey, Sarah. What color underwear today?
It somehow goes way too far and not far enough at the same time. It's giving this extreme scenario of, like, literally everybody in the world is going to see what you post and it's going to go viral immediately, but also their reactions are going to make you mildly uncomfortable at worst. Like, aside from the movie ticket guy, who you could very easily report to the manager, by the way, because this is a minor and it's super unprofessional, the attention she's getting seems completely harmless. And I'm not saying that it's okay. Not by any stretch of the imagination would this be okay. But for the extreme scenario you're trying to depict, you would think they would try to go a little farther, you know what I mean? You could easily turn this around to almost seem positive, and that's definitely not what you want. So yeah, it's outdated and it's too easy to make fun of, and so this one gets a thumbs down. Well, this one's less about internet safety and more about how to react to cyberbullying. But I like it a lot, actually. The thing is, it's acknowledging that you can't just make people stop being shitheads, because there are always going to be shitheads online. But it's also showing that you don't necessarily have to put up with it alone. You can't single-handedly end cyberbullying. Nobody can, at least not anytime soon. But you can't refuse to contribute to it, and you can combat it with positivity. And trust me, before you say anything, I know that one mean comment can be way more powerful than 100 nice comments. I know that from experience. It sucks. But still, I think this is a nice, simple, universal message about being the bigger person in a situation like this, and you can't really argue with that.
No one likes you.
Oh boy. I have some mixed thoughts about this one.
He's a proper skank.
We'll start with the positives. I like that this is one of the ones that's aimed at people doing the commenting, like the people who actually need to take responsibility. And I like that they don't water down any of the comments. They make them more hurtful and less, like, generic than other examples of this type of PSA.
Hey, benefits boy. Eat this. And die.
And, of course, the message that they're going for is good. You don't have to have malicious intentions or even, like, repeatedly target somebody to push them over the edge.
Enough it!
We didn't mean it.
It was just a text.
Like, it's forcing you to stop and think, maybe you're not the most clever person in the world for posting this, and maybe 1,000 other people have already said the same thing to this person, and you're not funny, you're just an asshole. And now, here's the issues I have with it. One, I think this is one that doesn't actually benefit from the twist ending. I've stated before, I love a good twist, especially in a PSA, but here it feels just kind of forced and almost, like, cheap. And it's putting the sympathy towards the bullies, which shouldn't be the focus at all. And I'm not saying that people don't deserve to be forgiven or that people can never redeem themselves. But when you have a 60-second ad, the last note of it should not be dedicated to making us feel sorry for the people who didn't mean it. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's what most people are going to take away from this one, but still, overall, it's kind of, it could go either way. It's kind of iffy for me. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. There were a few cyberbullying PSAs that I didn't touch on because I would either be reiterating my points or I just didn't think they were notable enough. But if you do want me to do more of this sort of topic, then do let me know. There are more just general bullying PSAs out there, so if you want me to review those, I'd be happy to. I have a lot to say about it, so it might get more serious. But yeah, I just wanted to do a short little review for this today. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!